Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice. Simple steps for showing up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host, and I am grateful for you. I truly am. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation between you and I. While we may not see each other, I do feel these conversations happening, and it's such a cool experience, to tell you the honest truth, that I could not explain to somebody. You must experience this type of communication without, or to truly understand what I'm referring to. I see the comments, I see the questions, I see the reviews, and they are phenomenal. I love seeing all of them. And I love hearing from somebody that I don't know that listens to the topic. They don't listen to the podcast, or I don't know they listen to it. They don't comment on my Instagram, which is Mr. Brad Draper. They don't leave reviews. They kind of just remain anonymous and consume, which is totally fine. But not just consume, but they are actually using the information that I put on this very easy to listen to podcast. There's a reason I made these 15 to 17 minutes long. At a 2x speed, you're listening to me for about 8 minutes. And I try to pace my voice to where you can listen to it in 1x speed, and it's not annoyingly slow, but it's also not so fast that you can't listen to it in 2x speed. I have those podcasts where I can't do 2x. They just talk too fast, and I can't absorb what they're trying to relay. To give you a single nugget, something you can apply today in your life and move the needle just a little bit. We're not looking for gargantuan leaps. That's not where you are in life. That's not where I am in life. We are taking things at a micro step. And in micro steps, you move very quickly. You don't cover large ranges per se in a day or two, but those ranges stack up. You compound all of these things. You habit stack. You build this gargantuan of a human that you have inside of you. I know you do. I know it's in there. And it's cool to watch these gargantuans come out of people. But on to today's topic. What do you want? What do you want? We're going to throw this back to, what is that movie? It's the chick flick. I can't remember. I can see it in my head. My wife's probably going to say, seriously, you don't know the name of that movie? Yeah, I don't know the name of that movie. But he's always asking, what do you want? And I'm going to add on another question to that question. You hear all the time, what do you want? I'm sure you've heard this, and I'm sure you've pondered on this, but have you really pondered on it? What do you want? Because after all, we've already talked about the fact that you are the one who experiences. You're not your name. You're not a son. You're not a husband or a father or an employee or a boss. Those are all descriptions of you. You can say valiant and strong and forthright and abrasive at times. Those are all descriptions of you. But who are you? A great analogy is when I poke you in the elbow and I say, what is this? You say, that's my elbow. As to suppose that you own that it's not actually you, it's something that you own. So this body that you have is just a meat suit to which houses your spirit suit, which houses you, which is the one who experiences. You cannot be created or destroyed. You have always been. You are an energy. And understanding that fact, you are the one experiencing. So, what do you want? Start from that point. And then, what are you experiencing? And are you experiencing what you want? Stack those two together. Are you sitting at a desk doing a thing that you say, oh, yeah, I love what I do, but it's not really what I want? I've been in that position. I've been in a position where I enjoyed what I did on the day-to-day. I enjoyed my coworkers. I enjoyed my tasks. I enjoyed the growth. That at some point I hit a ceiling, which is where you're at. And I knew I needed to get somewhere else because it wasn't truly what I wanted. What I truly want is to have experiences with my family, is to travel, and to experience culture and people and food and just societies at large, because I have been, for the most part, I have been raised in the United States, but for the most part in Utah in the United States. But I've lived in several different states, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different states. So I've experienced the Northeastern culture, the Southern culture, the Western culture. I've experienced all these, Central United States culture. And I want to experience so much more. I've been to the Dominican Republic. I've been to Canada. I've been to Mexico and several places in Mexico. And every location has its own piece of culture, just like the United States. Different locations in the United States, different states have their own way of doing things. I want to see that all over the world. And I had this really cool experience the other day. We took our family. This episode releases in January, but in the recording of this, we took our family to Disneyland for Christmas. And we decided that several years ago, before we even had kids, that we wanted to bring them experiences as opposed to presents. So we have experiential Christmases. And this was the first one to where our oldest son is 4 years old, and we felt he's old enough to remember this, to have a true experience and not just be carried around while we experience. And so our first experience was Disneyland. Disneyland and California Adventure, one for each day. 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And the second day, we did things a little different. Instead of getting up and going straight to the park like we did on the day one, that was no bueno. We had meltdowns by noon. But second day, we let the boys get up at their own leisurely pace. We let them take a nap. And during that nap, I was sitting on the balcony in sunny Newport Beach, California, overlooking the ocean at our vista, and just sitting here and realizing today's Tuesday. That old saying, that's a typical Tuesday in their life. It was a typical Tuesday. I was just sitting there on the balcony overlooking the ocean, writing in my journal, as opposed to being stuck at a desk in a 9-to-5 job like I have for the last 15 years. And at that very moment, I was experiencing what I've always wanted. At that very moment, what I want and what am I experiencing were the same. Arguably for some of the first time in my life. I've had many instances hiking Arches National Park, but those were typically always like on a weekend, or we were rushing it, or I was sitting there and my phone would go off because I was an executive. I was always on the clock. So my family was having a vacation or an experience and I was off to the side on the phone. That was me. A lot. For the first several years of my oldest son's life. That's what it was. And I was able to sit back on this balcony. My wife and I were talking about our goals, how we got to this point and how we're getting to the next point. I have a friend, she posted, I don't even know who said this quote or if it's just a known thing, but a dream becomes a goal when you write it down and you put a date on it. And that goal becomes a plan when you have actionable steps. And that plan becomes your reality when you take that action. And I was sitting in this reality as I had a dream, and it transformed into a goal, and then into a plan, and then into my reality. We have so many things planned for next year. We're going to Tanzania next summer. That's going to be cool. We're going to Greece the year thereafter. We're looking to go to Amsterdam and all these different places to experience people, culture, the world. Have you set up your life to which what you want and what you are experiencing are the same thing? Or are they, this is what I experience, this is what I have to do, I have no other options but to be here. And what I actually want is never coming because it's just a dream. Here's the newsflash. It is never coming unless you do something about it. As I reiterate from several podcast episodes ago, it took me 30 months, 30 months to leave my very much more than 9-to-5 job as a corporate executive. 30 months from the day that I turned in my notice to the day that I actually left. And truth be told, when I left, it was a conversation with me and my boss, who was the president, currently is still the president, and they more or less booted me out. They knew I was being held back, and they kicked me out. And I'm so grateful that they did that. And if it was on my own terms, I probably would still be there, because I just didn't feel that they were ready for me to leave. In reality, I wasn't ready. Because here's the thing, you're never going to be ready. That's the point. You learn as you go. You pivot as you go. It's in the action, the opportunities present themselves. Remember the whole action precedes action? That's where this comes from. The opportunity comes when you take the action. Then God sees you and you see God. And he says, here's a nugget, keep going. Here's a wink, keep going. Here's a helping hand along the way, keep going. But those nuggets, those winks, and those helping hands do not come when you think they should. They come when they must, because there's no other option. I recently had this experience. We're without a car, or I should say we're without a car. And an opportunity presented itself to gain a car. I have not had a car all year as I put everything I have into building my empire. Are you putting everything you have to build your empire? Truth be told, having one car and then kids that go to school that are 30 minutes away, that sucked terribly. We went 10 months that way of me borrowing friends' cars. I don't like asking for my friends to use their cars, but I did. I put myself in very uncomfortable situations in order to level up, in order to grow on purpose. That way I can move forward. Yeah, I turned down 3 different multi-6-figure careers. 3. In a matter of 4 months. Why? Because what I want. I know what I want. I've written it down. And I have the actionable steps to get me there, to make it my reality. After all, it is entirely up to you, the life you have. 100% up to you. I know you don't understand this yet, but you will. When you make a decision on what you want. I got a text a few weeks back from one of my longtime friends, and he said, I'm ready to go all in 2024. Let's go. He's already made these plans. He's already made these goals and is taking the action to make them a reality. What actions are you taking to turn your dreams into a reality? You really should only have a couple at a time. I am laser focused. I have had offerings to go with this coach and that mentor at these discounted prices because they really want me in their groups. And I had to say no to all of them. I'll rephrase that. I chose to say no to all of them because I am all in and laser focused on this one thing, which is building my empire. And as this grows, it will open my bandwidth to do more things. I asked the question as I started it, how do I get out of the way? I didn't just start and go. I did do that. But as I was going, I asked the question, how do I get out of the way so I can keep my North Star, which is traveling with my family, having experiences, and speaking on stages. That's what I love to do. That's what I want to do. And I can't be trapped down at a desk. I need to be on the fly and do what I want, when I want, how I want, with who I want. What do you want? And are you experiencing what you want? Are you choosing life? Or is life choosing for you? That is what I have for you. Those are the questions I want you to ponder and take action today, right now, in this moment. Take affirmative action so as to open the opportunities. You must understand that if you don't take the action, the opportunities, they were there, but you missed them. And how sad is that? All of the opportunities missed because of your inaction. It's time to change that. It's time to move forward. It's time to change your life. Seize what is yours. Take what you want and align the one who experiences those experiences, that's you, with what you actually want. Have this conversation with your friends and your family. Continue reaching out to me. I love the reviews, the comments, the messages. Keep them coming. They fire me up. You have no idea. Find me on social, Mr. Brad Draper. Like this thing, subscribe to this thing, download her for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.